Hey guys, this is Captain Fruit reporting for duty, and today I'm going to talk about a subject, the backlog. I know I've talked about the backlog on Twitter and other social media groups a few times, but you know, the backlog, how do you pick out that game that you're going to play next? You know, that can be a real source of stress, right? When you get through that game and then you move on to the next, especially if you're like me. You know, I'm one of those people that like to play one game and then beat it and then move to the next. I might play a game in between there, like a mobile game or a racing game or something. I can just pick up a few races here and there and do it. But usually what I do is I take a bit of period of time in between games and I do a lot of reading during that before I start that next jump into that next game, if you will. But how do you pick that next game? Well, that can be quite the challenge. And so there's a few ways. You could maybe set up a random number generator and pick a random one off the shelf. Because, you know, if you're like me, you look at that and you're like, oh my goodness, what game am I going to play next? And then the next thing you might be doing is hopping online, and instead of playing a game, you're searching to buy a new game to add to your backlog, to add more to your problem of clearing out your backlog. So one of the things I do personally is I like to challenge myself. I make a list and I see how many games I can beat that month or that year. Now granted, that's without going out of my way extra and things. It's just instead of sitting there and searching for new games, new things to get, it's applying and getting a new game. Now, as I said, there's a couple ways I do this. It depends on how I feel. I mean, you could be one of those people that pick a franchise, you know, maybe Castlevania or, you know, Halo or whatever, and you beat every game in that franchise. I tend to not do that kind of thing, with maybe exception of Uncharted. I beat 1, 2, 3 right in a row. I just loved it so much I went to the next one. But usually what I do is I mix it up. I'll maybe do like a first-person shooter, then I'll do a platformer, then I'll do a retro platformer, and then maybe I'll do a horror game, and then maybe I'll do a puzzle game or a light gun shooter. I like to mix it up. So that can be a nice way to just continue challenging myself. I might even mix up different platforms like PlayStation 1, then go to GameCube, then go to PlayStation 3. Whatever it may be. And maybe that's another way you could choose your games too, is say, hey, I'm going to tackle PlayStation 2 games this month, and all the games you pick this month are PlayStation 2 games. So there's a lot of different ways. One of the ways I'm challenging myself this year is not only about the volume of games, but I want to clear out a lot of my superhero backlog games. I have a lot of superhero games on the shelf because I'm a big superhero fan, if you haven't been able to tell. But my backlog of superhero games is pretty darn immense. So my goal is to clear out a lot of the superhero games. So instead of picking them off the shelf, I know I'm a little bit weird in this, because I'm one of those people, I got a lot of these fantastic games that are rated really high, and everyone says these are awesome games and you've got to play them, and they're sitting on my shelf. And I pick other ones that are lesser known because I go, well, I hear this one's already really good, but I want to try this one and see what it has to offer. And so I find that these big games that people tell me are so awesome sit on my shelf because I'm too afraid to give them a shot, because I'm trying all these other games that I want to give a chance to, which I know is completely weird. So what I'm doing too, on top of that, is when I'm mixing my games up, I like this year I'll probably do like a superhero game, and then I play a different type of game, then I'll play another superhero game, so I've been clearing out a lot of those. I'm going to try to pick more of those big top rated games and see if they really do hold up for, everybody has to say about it. Because I see it all the time on Twitter, like, can you believe I've never played this game because it's a popular game? I'm like, I haven't. It's been sitting on my shelf for 3 months. I'll give you a popular game here that's a great example. Scott Pilgrim. I've had it. And I still haven't played it to this day. I had it back when it came out. I still haven't gotten to it. So yeah, that backlog can be atrocious. So my question to you guys is, how do you get rid of your backlog? What do you do? How do you select what games you're going to play next? I would love to hear your methodology to doing that, because if you're anything like me, I sometimes fail at those goals. Another goal I have this year is to beat more video games than I actually purchase. And I'm failing already in this year, and we're about 4 months in is all. You know, I've beaten 13 games this year so far, but I've purchased over 23, somewhere 20 or more. Now, to be fair, 20 of those are Atari 2600 games, so you can't always necessarily beat those. And I get those because those are ones I like to pop in for just a few minutes of fun here and there. And right now, Atari is out. It's not the popular searching thing right now, so they're cheap. And I always tell people, collect what's not popular. Really, that's, especially if you catch it before it's popular. It's the best way. It's the way to get them for cheap. Now, granted, it doesn't mean you can't get the popular stuff. It's just saying that's the ones you get for cheaper. right? So my backlog continues to grow. My retro backlog is huge. Maybe you're one of those people that just pick up a game, play it for a little bit, and put it back on the shelf, but I'm not. I have to beat it, with the exception of like Atari ones or points only. I have to beat it before I get to that next game. I'm curious too how you do that. Do you have to beat that game before you put in another game? Are you a one game at a time person? Or are you playing like 15 different games? You know, little Frugal came to me once and said, "Dad, why are you only playing one game?" I said, "Son, because I cannot remember all the buttons if I don't." I picked that up and it's like, what game was this? I don't remember which one's the shoot button. And it's one of the reasons I avoid RPGs like the plague. One, it takes too long. I just don't have enough time, so I don't tend to buy those and put those in my backlog much. And two, I don't want to get through half a campaign and not be able to touch a game for a week or two because circumstances, get back into it and go, crap, where did I leave off? I have no clue what to do next. So that's just me. But once again, guys, this is just a friendly discussion video that I'd like to share. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that and your backlog as well. Well, thank you for watching. And if you don't mind, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Until next time, keep it frugal.